what I said I was gonna make videos on the Black Manosphere. Here's number one. Now this video is gonna be primarily focusing on Fresh and Fit. Their sort of weird pipeline, especially when it comes to dating advice. It's just god awful. I mean, to be honest, I'll be honest with you. American ideas of dating are kind of just shit to begin with, because a lot of our perceptions of dating is based off of really bad romantic comedy movies. And people like to say, well, porn jacks people up, and I'm like, let me tell you, romantic comedy films and movies, they really have jacked up perceptions of dating. You'll be surprised. But I would say more so. So in essence, what I'm dealing with here is we got a bunch of dudes who basically are spewing the same old nonsensical patriarchal bullshit over and over and over again. That's basically what Fresh and Fit are. And some of these guys present themselves as like, yeah, man, I'm masculine, man. Like one of the hosts, he seems like he's a pretty physically fit dude. Not that fucking matters. I don't see how that matters in anything. I mean, it just feels like compensation to me, man. I don't really care what your body size is. It doesn't really. Again, due to me like studying a lot of martial arts and understanding how combat actually works, and my brother talks about the history of combat. He's a huge combat aficionado. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. When I see a guy who's like ridiculously jacked, I'm just think to myself, yeah, he's jacked. And I really don't see how that counts as proficiency, but okay. That's just me. I don't know. It's sort of like this sort of false presentation of themselves. But apart from that, that's one of the guys in the host. And there's another guy who basically doesn't know how to do any social cues whatsoever. And they bring women on to talk about dating and whatnot. I'll be honest with you. This is where these guys fall into the idea of perception. They go into these things, they see these women who are, by Western standards of beauty, you see I put that in air quotes, by Western standard of beauty, they are considered quote-unquote bad B words. Personally, I never liked using that term, but I mean, I get it, but I never personally cared for the term for myself. Someone's good looking. I mean, to me, I'm just kind of just say, yeah, you're good looking. I get the slang vernacular, but I just never really, it didn't really hit with me than most people do. But the thing is, a lot of the times, these women are in many ways the self-fulfilling prophecy. What I mean by this is, patriarchy has a concept. It takes two to tango. It takes not only men enforcing it, it takes also women policing it as well. And these women on these shows in Fresh Fit, I swear to God, I'm sitting down and I'm thinking to myself, I get some of their statements, because sometimes out of the blue, some of them would say something interesting. But a lot of the time I'm looking at them and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems like, y'all are just perpetuating the same bullshit. It's just that it's a woman saying it. I don't see the difference. I mean, it takes two to tango in this situation. So, frankly, for me, I've seen his videos. I watched a couple. I personally couldn't get through all of it, because I remember I sat through an entire 2-hour thing of Fresh Fit to see what they were talking about. And I was really pissed off because I wasted 2 hours of my life on that shit. And I was like, I just heard the most ridiculous, nonsensical garbage that I heard. And oh my God, that episode had Kevin Samuels on. Another brother that I'm going to get to in another video later. But apart from that, I think he's another washed up motherfucker too. But a lot of these guys I have noticing are compensating. And another thing that I noticed, and we'll probably link this to Harriet's video, because she's a YouTuber, a black woman YouTuber. She's a sister, fellow sister, who made a really good point about deplatforming these guys, because a lot of them seem to be pushing like this weird, like bizarre, making weird statements about black women, saying things about like lighter skinned women or women of Central American background who pass as white. If I'm being honest, that's what they're fucking talking about. Um, that's what I'm saying, because some of these guys seem to forget that Afro-Latinos exist. From some of the statements that I've seen them make, I'm like, do you guys not, black people in Central America exist, right? Like, what the fuck? But, yeah, it's, it's really weird shit. They've made some statements about, oh, well, yeah, this Aryan princess. I see like a good-looking white girl, and I'm just looking to myself, and I'm like, or the standard of beauty that here is of, whatever, of thereof. You see it, you're just like, my Aryan princess? Bro, what? And it's kind of, man, it's kind of sad, because it reminds me of that, like, really, at this point, it's like, fuck Dave Chappelle. But it reminds me of that skit of, like, the black dude that thinks he's a Klan member. That's what it's getting at this point, especially with these guys. It's starting to become almost like self-parody. And it's just like, dude, I get it. You guys seem to love women of other ethnicities, and black women are the devil. I don't get it. But black women are the demonic entities that you claim that they are. So, or they say like, oh, black women are mean. Okay, this goes back to negative experiences these guys probably had. And again, this is the problem. A lot of these guys are approaching their whole worldview based on an experience they had years ago growing up that they couldn't move on from. Because let me tell you something. I got cursed out by my sisters too. I kind of moved on from the point. They cursed me out. I'm like, all right, I'm going to curse you out. I ain't going to insult you. I ain't going to say derogatory shit or be sexist. I'm going to curse you out like I was cursing out a regular dude, And I just moved on. Like there would be this fight, be like, yo, what the fuck? And then we just argue. And then after that, I'll just be like, well, she's on her way. I don't care. I'm moving on. Because I've learned, you kind of don't waste time on that type of shit. Those types of arguments. Especially, around the block. It just doesn't make sense. So for me, I don't know what these guys... these guys must have had really bad experiences with some black women. To the point in which it's like, oh no, they're so mean. I'm like, really? Like, oh, really? All black... really? All of them. So you're going to take a blanket statement and assume all black women are mean and blah, 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 blah. First off, they're human beings. That's number one. I hate to say that I have to keep reminding people of this. But yeah, they're people. They get angry and cranky as you do. And we'll see a difference here. Okay? So, man, so these guys go on these like weird tangents. I remember this one episode they were talking about relationship advice, and they were talking about black women's hair, and it's like, why would you date someone that's crusty with her weave and stuff? And I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, bruh, what? Or the one video of the lady saying, yeah, I'm not gonna really date a guy from McDonald's in terms of my economic situation. Now, her point is not, a lot of people went after that video and they're just like, oh shit, yo, what the fuck? This is poof. And I'm like, dude, first off, it's not like I agree with what she's saying. The difference is the context of what they're saying it. Okay? Because right there, that's not I don't see what she says as an issue of she would date someone who's poor. That's a more systemic problem of the issue of classism. Yet, these guys aren't really that fucking sophisticated. They didn't like these guys aren't doing any of that. They're just saying that to be like, look, black women are showering vapid like this woman. And it's like, what? Like, that's what you took out of that? I mean, I understand why I think what she said was valid. Though I also understand, like, the position of society we're in. It is, in a sense, classism. And that's another conversation to discuss. But these guys didn't bring it up at all in the video. They just used that to harp on it. And this is what I've said. These guys are so... But that's, I think that's how reactionaries are. They minimize actual systemic problems. And they try to have the simple answers to these things. Whether it's more, self-righteous moralizing, claiming it's degeneracy, whatever the fuck that means. Or, saying some weird shit. And the weird idea of putting light-skinned women and putting them on a pedestal, it's just really fucking... This is what I've said. It's that weird thing where it's like, y'all just want to be white men. So, it is kind of creepy, in a sense. I'm like, I don't have time for you motherfuckers. Because for me, it's like, I'm a brother who wants to get rid of the patriarchy, all right? I got no time. I've always said this to people. You want to do a coup? I want to destroy that shit. I don't want a coup. Okay? Y'all motherfuckers want a coup so you can put yourselves on the pedestal. That's not anything revolutionary, brother. But yeah, those were the first guys I wanted to discuss today in that video. Was FreshandFit today. And personally, it's a short video because I really got nothing to say about them. I've seen a couple of their videos. They had Kevin Samuels on. I'll get to talking to that motherfucker soon. But to be honest, in this weird comparison about, women are the fall of Rome. What the fuck is... Oh man, talk about taking the playbook from Stefan Molyneux. But yeah, it's some weird shit going on. I'll give you that much. And FreshandFit, I have an issue with them because they're sort of like the gateway to a lot of this bullshit. A lot of impressionable dudes will fall into their rabbit hole when they go and they watch this stuff. I also think, this is my opinion, I also think a lot of guys watch too many weird celebrity shit and they make these weird assumptions about people. Because there's an intersection of celebrity culture, celebrity stan culture. There's an intersection of misogyny. There's a lot of shit going on, right? And to be honest, I kind of also want to blame No Jumper as well too, and some of his sort of clout chasing bullshit also. I mean, I think those guys sort of contribute to the problem in terms of perception, because these perceptions get created and they end up falling for it, right? Not to say there aren't dumbass beliefs in the black community. Believe me. But these guys do fall into that category of the dumbass beliefs. Or what I like to call the black cis hetero patriarchy redux. So, that's basically what these guys are. They don't want to really do anything in the preference of liberation. And, personally, I got no time for these people. That's just on a broader sense. I kind of have time for these people. At least in my opinion. But there is an intersection. Because I used to watch a lot of No Jumper. And a lot of that stuff you start seeing the creeping. Because I think I think the standard of American celebrity culture does play a role in a lot of this bullshit. In terms of Western standards of beauty, things of that nature, a lot of that intersects and plays into a lot of this nonsense. Especially like perceptions about black women, things of that nature. It plays a lot into that weird shit. And other crap too. Yet at the end of the day, it's still under the framework of white supremacy at the end of the day. White supremacy is still the skeleton that is holding all this bullshit. So, in that sense, you have to look at this intersectionally. But yeah, I used to watch a lot of No Jumper and those folks. I stopped watching them after the rap game stuff. It got to the point where I was just like, okay, dude, listen, it's great you had a threesome, but I don't need to know you had a threesome, bro. Like I don't know why this is an announcement for you to make. I don't get it. Like, it got to the point where things are getting weird. And it's, not in a bad way. Not that I didn't care. It just was just like, I don't know how this is a relevant thing to talk about. Not to say I cared about it. I'm not a prude. But it's just like, I was just like, okay, good for you, dude. Awesome. But again, you have the weird guys in the comments that are just like, yeah, man, he's pimping. He's a real man. And I'm like, okay, bro. I'm the type of guy that, this is what I've always said to myself. I love sex. I'm a very sexual person. Love, you want to talk about the slut? I am one. But motherfucker, man, I have this shit for fun. I'm not having sex in the terms of like a status or having a body count. Matter of fact, I don't give a fuck about body counts, to be honest. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Personally, I don't give a fuck. That's why I don't care when people say, "Oh, you have a lot of body counts, man." I'm like, dude, I don't care. So, if a woman has a large amount of sexual partners, it doesn't fucking bother me. Because I don't have weird perceptions and patriarchal hiccups on shit. Okay? So for me, I'm not looking at some person be like, yeah, I want them to be like my thing. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? She's not my property. What the fuck? So, again, I personally don't really, I don't understand that. So, for me, they start making these weird videos and I'm just like, yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm fine. I don't see this as a big deal. And some videos like clicks or whatever, or, I know some people say, well, sex sells. So, yeah. Personally, I don't know. It's just a weird perception, in my opinion, to sort of play that sort of weird point to make. And I think No Jumper had a lot of stupid shit happening. He had a lot of dumbass claims. He had a lot of dumbass points too. So, FreshFit. Eventually, FreshFit, in my opinion, they're basically trying to copy that format. That's basically what they're doing. So, I wanted to start with them first in this video, because they are sort of like the gateway I see, before you get to people like Kevin Samuels and you go deeper into the rabbit hole. But yeah, it's my first attempted video on the Black Manosphere types. And FreshandFit, conclusion on them, they have nothing interesting to say to me. They really have nothing interesting or that thought-provoking of a thought. I think a lot of times the women and the men on the show are just regurgitating patriarchal nonsense. And when I watch that show, it just further proves to me that, yeah, it takes two to tango to uphold patriarchy. You need women to enforce it, as well as men who are already enforcing it. And watching that show, I'm just like, yep, that's about right. So, for me, that's all I got to say about that. And hopefully everyone has a nice day. In New York, it's super cold. It's very windy. Very icy cold. But people in any other area, I know I have some viewers who are from Canada. Stay frosty and stay warm. And yeah, have a nice day.